Hi everybody, it's Sunday and I'm going to try and get Liz's life lessons back on track. I'm not quite sure what to call this one at the moment. I know what I'm going to talk about though. A few weeks ago I was watching a TED Talk and the speaker was Emily Wapnick, don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, and the title of the talk was "Is there one true calling?" or "Your one true calling?" ? And I was really interested in that because I just don't know, and as I've been trying to sort out my goals and priorities over the last couple of years, it is really difficult for me, it's really difficult to go, yes, my one true calling is this. As you know, I have, well, some of you might not know, but now you do, because I'm going to tell you. For the last 25 years or so, I have been in IT. I've been an IT trainer and also develop software, databases and whizzy things on spreadsheets with programming and things. And it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it. But originally I trained as a musician and I've always loved jazz. And about 10 years ago, I started to pursue jazz singing really seriously and get into all the scatting side of it and all that kind of thing. And 7 years ago, I released my first album. And then 2 years ago, I recorded about 4 tracks, thinking I was going to do an EP. And one of the tracks was for the London in the Rain video that I've released on my music channel that Louis and Ben and Steve videoed. Then I thought the track sounded so good that I would just record some more to make a whole album. But I haven't finished it off, haven't got it mastered and haven't launched it. And then I think you guys have heard me talking about starting doing training and coaching. Anyway, I'm all over the place. So this video on the TED Talks channel was just perfect for me. And what she explained was that when we're about 5 years old, people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And kids often say cute things like, I want to be a fireman and an astronaut. And they go, oh, yeah. But as you get older, it's like you are really expected to know what you want to major in at college, what kind of degree you want to do, what career path you want to have. And it's kind of unacceptable to say, I want to be a jazz musician and be in IT. Actually, there is a jazz musician in the UK, Art Thiemann, and he was an orthopaedic surgeon and a top flight jazz saxophonist at the same time. I think he's retired from being an orthopaedic surgeon now and he's just concentrating on jazz, but I remember at the time that encouraged me. Anyway, Emily was saying, why do we feel that there needs to be this one thing that we do? Because she discovered that there's a name for people who get thoroughly involved in something and then kind of like, okay, yes, what's the next thing? And it's multipotentialist. So yeah, I'm a multipotentialist. That's exciting. And she was saying it's from culture that we think that we have to choose one thing, and asked people to think back as to when they first kind of felt like that was the thing that you had to do. She was also saying there are definitely some people that really know the one thing that they want to do, and you would call those people specialists. So you have specialists and multipotentialists, and go and watch the video because it's really interesting in terms of why we need both in the world and how to make everything work. And there's diagrams of how you've got the crossover point of the two things that you do, and that creates a whole nother skill set and all that kind of thing. It's really fascinating. But when she asked the question, think back to when you first felt a notion that you had to choose one thing, I could remember exactly the point, and it was when we were studying for our A-levels, and I was doing A-level English and we were studying Charles Dickens' Bleak House. And you can even look it up in Wikipedia. There is this actual bit that says the kind of father figure character, John Jarndyce, I think his name is? Yeah, he becomes Esther's guardian, and then there's these other 2 cousins, Richard Carstone and Ada Clare, and I think they are not immediate cousins, or I think first cousins did kind of get involved in those days and it wasn't disapproved of. Anyway, that's not really the point. the point was, well, yeah, I think it is kind of, well, it's getting to the point. But before the Guardian was going to approve a relationship between them, and in Wikipedia it says he stipulated that Richard, who was inconstant, had to choose a career, had to choose a profession. That's what it says. So that made me think, yes, it's inconstant, that you can't like choose one thing. And if you've read Bleak House, you know that he trains to be a doctor first, and then he goes on to do law, and I think he's done a couple of other things first, so he's considered inconstant. And I remember our English teacher saying he lacked character. So I've always thought that, as I've found it difficult to just be interested in one thing, that it's because I've lacked character. I kind of have fought against that and thought, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to teach Keep Fit. I'm going to do IT. I'm going to be a jazz musician. I'm going to do needlework and dressmaking. I'm going to do all the things I want to do because I want to do them. So anyway, this video just kind of is really good affirmation for me being a multi-potentialist. Then that led me on to thinking about other things that make you think that this is the only way to do it. And I read a really funny thing on Facebook. I will link it below because it's one of those things that you can save. So I've saved the link. I've remembered to save the link this time. And it was about how these situations happen, how these thoughts, how these things in culture get established, that we think, well, that's the way to do it, that's the way we've always done, and why we should question it, why we should say, is there really a reason? And it was about this scientific experiment that was done with 5 monkeys, and they put these 5 monkeys in this room and had a ladder and bananas at the top, and every time a monkey would go to get the bananas, the other 4 monkeys would get sprayed with cold water. So they would attack this monkey. And then they stopped spraying them with water, but they would still do that. It had kind of got established into their minds, right, we don't want anybody going up and getting those bananas. Then they swapped one of the monkeys in with a monkey that hadn't had that experience. So of course, sure enough, he went to get the bananas and the other monkeys attacked him, and he gradually learned, yeah, we don't go and get the bananas. And over time, they swapped all the original 5 monkeys for monkeys that hadn't had the experience of being sprayed with cold water. But they all adopted this way of, being that they would not go and get the bananas, and if any of them did, they would attack them. So, yeah, we need to be thinking, okay, why do we always do it that way? There's another one that I read once. It was in a book that Ben had for ideas for doing things with youth groups. And again, it was about questioning, why do we always do it this way? And it was about this woman, you might have heard it before, whose husband said to her when she was cooking a roast beef joint for Sunday lunch, and she always cut the ends off. And he said to her, why do you do that? And she goes, I don't know, that's just what you're supposed to do with roast beef, isn't it? And he said, no, I've never seen it done like that before. Oh, well, my mother always did that. So next time they were around at her mother's, they said, Mum, why do you cut the ends of the roast beef? Oh, I don't know. My mum always did it. So then the next time they were around at their granny's, they said, Granny, why do you cut the ends of the roast beef? And she kind of looked puzzled, as if, do I? And then she said, well, I did when you were little, when the mother was little, because your grandpa used to always bring a really big joint home because he would get it in the office sweep or something like that. And I had a really small roasting tin, so I had to cut the ends off to get it in the roasting tin. So yeah, there you go. You need to question those things. But anyway, back to being a multi-potentialist and having lots of different goals. I've got some props now. I've talked about this before. Actually, it's kind of appropriate. So, I've got all these kind of goals, you can see the lights reflecting in this. Oh, that's good. So I've got all these goals, all these different goals. I've got a bowl of rice, and this is all the things in my life. And these are all the kind of like fundamental things I need to do. Cleaning the house, sorting out the finances, giving people's lifts to college, all those kind of things. And you can't really fit anything else in here, but I have got all these other things that I want to fit it in. And they're all different because I'm a multi-potentialist. And a little peach, clove of garlic, so it doesn't fit into that container. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bigger container. Let's just take those things off there. So there are all these mundane things that I have to do in my life. I just have to do them. I'm going to spill this everywhere now, aren't I? So I'm going to put it into the bigger container. I'm expanding my horizons. I have got myself all sorted out and have got greater capacity. I've been working on all my stress and that kind of thing. So I've got a greater capacity. But, whoops, that apple keeps going off. Just about to fit that banana in. Got to put that in first. And that apple, pepper, peach or nectarine. And it's not really fitting in. But I've got like all the things that are like really kind of unnegotiable things. But one of the things I was realising, having talked about, you know, goals and things for New Year, and saying I was just going to carry on with how I was doing things, wasn't going to get too worried about goals. I did sort of think, no, but I really need to do this one thing. I think I've talked about Brian Tracy before. When I went on this coaching thing, the guy there quoted Brian Tracy as well and said he's an absolute legend, and that's how I describe him as well. So I'll put a link to Brian Tracy as well. He did a New Year thing about goals, and he was saying, what is the one thing that would make the biggest difference in your life? Focus on that and everything else will kind of like fall into place. So that's what I decided to do. And being a multi-potentialist, I did kind of think, right, my jazz thing, whatever else things I want to do, YouTube, banana for YouTube, peach, there's lots of other nice things that I want to do, seeing friends, those kinds of things, fitness, etc. And then, having got those in, having thought, right, these are the things that are going to make the biggest difference to kind of my life, my future, doing something with my life, then I can put all the other things in around them. Still got half a bowl of rice here. And there we are. It's all fitting in nicely. Nothing's poking out the top. And I know it's a bit cliche, but I really have found that that has worked this week. I've just thought, right, I've got to get this jazz thing, get my album sorted, get the thing at the theatre sorted. And I've put those things in place first, and then everything else is fitted around it. And also my fitness, I have just said, right, unnegotiably, Saturday I'm going to boot camp, Tuesday I'm going to go for a run, Thursday I'm going to do my weights workout at home. And yeah, everything else that I kind of think, oh, but when would I do that? I don't have time, I've got to do this. It's all fitted in. Still don't quite know what I'm titling this life lesson thingy. I'll think of something and I'll put that as the title. See you next time.